Visit stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Nina's Pierogi House is your home for the area's best variety of pierogies. Daily specials include the Polish platter, the Hungarian platter, stuffed cabbage, and halushki. Having a last-minute get-together? Lena's has you covered with a wide variety of frozen take-home pierogies and dumplings. Go to Facebook at Lena's Pierogi House to see the weekly lineup of available flavors for dine-in or carry-out. Catch the best at Lena's Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 20 North Main Street in Hubbard or call 234-254-8532.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
It's time to kick back and listen to the Sports Page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning Sports Page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. Western Reserve Radio is the station you're listening to. 330-707-4202. Get in, talk sports. We do it every Saturday morning here. Here is Western Reserve Radio. Oh, Dave Clark, what is going on with the draft and Shedeur Sanders? Let's get right to it. We got to get, but before we kind of venture too far into it, let's at least talk a little NBA, at least last night's games. It looks like now, at least the Boston was beat last night by Orlando. Orlando will not be swept.
Yeah, I thought they would be, but no. Got through it. Yeah.
Pulled out a win at home now. Can they make it a 2-2 series?
Yeah.
Could this be, a lot of experts believe this is going to be a no-brainer. Boston would walk away with, 4-0 sweep, move on to the next, and wait for either the Knicks or the Pistons, which is a good series.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Then the other series last night, well, there's two other series that played last night. Indiana lost to Milwaukee. Milwaukee was losing, but came back, won the game 117-101. Therefore, that won't be a 4-game sweep because now that's 2-1. So Milwaukee was able to, and Orlando, win their opening home games. Now the question comes out, same thing. Can Milwaukee make it a 2-2? This game for both Orlando and Milwaukee coming up will dictate where this series is going to go. Right. Does it turn into kind of a dogfight if it's 2-2, or does it turn into the gentleman's sweep, the 4-1, as they like to refer to that? Then the game late last night, I didn't stay up for the entire game, but I had it on my phone, and I was kind of watching the score toward the end. Minnesota had a really big win over the Lakers, 116-104, which now Minnesota leads that series 2-1. Minnesota won the first game, blew out the Lakers at home, and then lost game 2. And watching game 2, that was a very awkward game. Minnesota just couldn't seem to. It was a square peg in a round hole. They came out rough. Right. And the Lakers were able to at least get a split at home. Now, obviously, the bottom line is going to be today's games. We have the Cavaliers, who are currently up 2-0. They're playing today at 1:00. They look to go to 3-0. They're at Miami. That game's TNT. Then the game 3:30 after the Cavs, also at TNT. Oklahoma City looks to sweep the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Right now they're up 3-0, and they could put the series away if they can win. Boy, Memphis was blowing them out.
Yeah, I know.
Game 3. And I just thought, well, okay, Memphis is at least going to win a game here and maybe make this interesting. And all of a sudden, it's like Oklahoma City just comes back.
Took off on them.
Went off, got that lead at the end, and now it's 3-0.
Yep.
Then the other series, Denver at LA, that comes out again. That's 6:00 today. That's the Clippers are up 2-1. Clippers just totally manhandled them in game 4 or game 3, and they went up to 2-1. Clippers could be up 3-0 in this series.
Right.
Denver, so much for firing your coach. But the Clippers could basically go up 3-1 if they can win today at 6:00 on TNT.
Yeah, that's my dangerous team near as we did our picks. That's the one I think that could be something, the Clippers, I'm telling you. And as I said before, I don't know what Kawhi Leonard does, but he gets injured, he get whatever's wrong with him. He just, like, he comes out of what they say back in the day, Superman come out of this phone booth, and he's like, nothing was ever, no injuries, nothing. Just looks.
When he's healthy, he's a great player.
Yeah.
You cannot get from under that. But Kawhi Leonard's problem has always been getting on the court, or lack of getting on the court, because he always seems to be hurt, especially at inopportune times.
Yeah.
However, he's fully healthy for this series. And if he's healthy.
Yeah, I just don't understand when you be away from the game that long. You know, you normally we always say guys got to knock the rust off. It just comes out like he's just fresh, like he's been practicing all the time.
Oh no,
that is weird. I've never seen that.
I've never
like
seen
that.
a player like that.
No,
turn it on, and
this
not only turning it on, but putting it at that higher level, superstar level.
Yeah. That's the thing. You're right. Absolutely.
That's the
We're
thing.
not talking about a guy that just comes back and he just plays good.
Good.
He goes all the way back to I'm one of the best in this entire league right now.
Right now. And if he stays healthy, you look at the LA Clippers and if they do away with Denver, I mean, they absolutely blew them out game 3.
Yeah, they did.
In LA, that game wasn't even close.
I mean, and like I said, and then you get other guys start to play. Like I said, James Harden changed his game to where he's more of a facilitator. He will score if he needs to. But like in that game, he was so hot. They just let him keep going.
He's the kind of player that's exactly right.
If he's hot, you just let him go.
If he gets in the zone, Harden is the kind of player. Now he could drive you crazy the other way, and you don't know where he is, and he looks lethargic. But if he's playing hot and he's got it going, he's a superstar.
Yeah,
and he could play at that level.
Yep.
And if you have Kawhi and him ratcheting it up, sort of to speak, that's gonna. And then the center, Zubac.
Oh yeah.
He's very skilled, great player, fits that offense well. And I think they could be a very dangerous team coming out of the West, but they have the other thing, they're the Clippers, man, and they always find a way to screw things up.
Yeah. I wonder.
But this could be their year.
Yeah, maybe. I wondered about it. I tell you, man.
Then
it's weird.
The game, that's the 6:00 game, Denver at LA. LA looking to go up 3-1.
And don't count Denver out. I won't count them out because, Jokic and Murray, when it's time, they step up. I got both of them. So, definitely not counting them out. It's a good series. I like that series. Very good.
That could go 7 series. It depends on, again.
This game today, right?
This is the 6:00 game, TNT. Denver at LA. This is these 2-1. These series sitting at 2-1. This is like the old fork in the road. Is that if LA goes up 3-1, then they're going to be tough to lose, or they're going to be tough to beat. Denver can tie the series 2-2. Then you're looking at at least 6 games to 7.
Right.
Now the Houston at Golden State is the 8:30 tonight. That's ABC. Without Jimmy Buckets, I don't know if Golden State can win this. They're going to need Butler to come back. Now he's got a pelvic bruise, which sounds absolutely and I don't know if he's going to be able to come back from that. I guess it just really comes down to how severe is that injury. But even if it's just, from what I understand, that even if it's just a bruise, it could take weeks to get over a minor.
Yeah, where the bruise is at, and then that was a major fall.
Major fall.
All his weight straight down. And he was elevated up in the air like that. So that trauma to the body. So it's going to be tough. If there's one guy that can try to fight through it, it would be him. But you just wonder how effective will he be
when he does come back?
Yeah, that's the thing. You wonder about that.
That series is at 1-1. They're at Golden State tonight. So Houston obviously wants to go up 2-1, or Golden State goes up 2-1. So that will be seeing how Golden State can do without Butler. I'm sure he's probably not playing tonight. I could look up his status, but
I'd be shocked if he's playing tonight. But as I said, if there's any guy that's probably trying to fight through it, it'd be him. But man, that was a heck of a fall.
It says he's questionable for game 3. Kerr's relatively optimistic. He suffered a pelvis and deep glute muscle contusion when he took the hard fall in game 2. First round series against Houston. He had the MRI on Thursday. Steve Kerr told reporters that there's a chance Butler may be available for game 3. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to wait and see how that plays itself out. So just the fact that he's a game time decision with that kind of injury is absolutely unbelievable.
Right.
And then obviously the other games this week coming up is Sunday games. The Knicks are at Detroit. They're up 2-1. ABC 1 o'clock. The Knicks looking to go up 3-1 against Detroit. I have a gut feeling that Detroit will probably win. I have a feeling this is going to go 7 games.
Yeah, I mean, it's a chippy series.
And it's a chippy series. Houston's chippy too.
Yeah, that is too.
That's real chippy too.
Yeah, both of those.
They're
old school basketball.
Old school basketball. Yeah. And these referees are swallowing their whistles watching these games.
I am enjoying 1990.
Yeah,
hello, you're back. Yep. I love it. Yeah, I love that physicality of the game in basketball. I loved it.
You have Detroit taking on the Knicks at 1. That's 2-1 Knicks. Knicks obviously looking to go up 3-1. I don't know. I have a feeling Detroit will win game 4 in Detroit, tie the series, and this could go 7. Now, the other big game, the other game coming up on Sunday at 3:30 is almost, all these are must watch, but especially the 3:30 game is the LA Lakers at Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Now Minnesota's up 2-1. The Lakers obviously don't want to go down 3-1 to Minnesota.
Right.
Minnesota playing very good, very athletic, young. Mm-hmm. The Lakers, LeBron has been playing. He played great last night. Luka. Now, was Luka sick
or something? They said I didn't catch all of what was going on
because he obviously looked sick. Like if he had the flu, either a bad sinus infection. I'm guessing here. But he looked sick. Like he didn't look well.
Right.
Like he had the flu or some kind of a. So he didn't look 100%. But it was a great game if you watched it, and I did stay up till the end of the third quarter, and then obviously they pulled it out. The Minnesota Timberwolves pulled it out, but the bottom line is this is big because obviously they have to Dallas. If you are a Minnesota Timberwolf fan, you don't want to get into a game 7 in LA. You don't want this going 7 games because you play the 7th game in LA. You want to try to dispose of the Lakers in 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because they think that if you put LeBron and Luka in the corner, they're going to come out ready to play, and they're going to be tough out.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I think it's a big game for Minnesota because you do want to go up 3-1. You definitely do. I mean, it's big for both teams, but especially I feel Minnesota needs to get up 3-1 and may feel a little bit more comfortable in getting the series, needing to get just 1 out of the next 3. So your odds is really high in being able to do so.
It'll be, like I said, it looks like a stomach bug. We were right.
Okay.
He was dealing with the stomach bug last night's game. He didn't look good.
Yeah.
He looked sick. I have the flu sick, so there you go. So kind of pull that. We guessed that one right. And then the Sunday games, Boston at Orlando, 7 o'clock TNT, 2-1, and then Indiana and Milwaukee, 9:30 TNT. So obviously both those series can Orlando and Milwaukee win game 4, tie the series. Mm-hmm. And then now you're going to have at least a 6 or 7 game series, which Boston wasn't. I know nobody in Boston thought Orlando was going to push it to 6 or 7.
Yeah, for sure.
They thought this is going to be 4 or 5 games out the door. We move on. We will play, waiting for either the Knicks or Detroit. If they get 6 or 7 games and you extend them out, take a little bit out of their sails, then the question is, though, with the Knicks and Detroit, I don't know either team is going to have any legs left to take on Boston. But if you extend Boston out to 6 or 7 games, then they're not, again, they're making them play more games. The playoffs, the name of the game in playoffs is play less games as your opponent. You'll have your legs,
Yeah.
But if you get too many 7-game series, that's like the Lakers, older teams. If you extend the Lakers to 7 games, that takes, because they're an older team, or at least LeBron's older, getting them then into another series, it takes a toll on that team.
Right. Yep. So, that's what you want to force them to do. So, it's just Orlando, they have to just, that should bode well for them winning that game. And then it's maybe the confidence come back too, because they have been pretty much successful against them over the long run and the short run far as in the season. They play well against them. They beat them, So, this should give them some confidence. It definitely should.
Well, that's the playoff picture. Monday, Memphis will play at Oklahoma City. I should throw that in. They could end the series. Oklahoma City can...
they're a hard team to do.
Well, I guess they technically, I back up. Oklahoma City, that's if necessary. Oklahoma City at Memphis could end the series today at 3:30.
Oh, yeah, they do play today.
I'm sorry, my bad.
And it's a good possibility they will.
And
I hate to say, but it's just that team plays together so well. And then you look at the Memphis, I don't know, they just don't have the staying power. Even like that lead they have, they just can't hold these guys off. They're young, they're confident, and they come back. They come back, and they come back in bunches, quick. So how do you, just stop that train? Memphis got to try to find out a way today to do so, to extend this.
Derail it at least.
But I don't know if they can. I really don't.
No team in the NBA has ever come back from down 0-3. Nobody.
Yeah.
In NBA.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I'm not watching Oklahoma City play. I don't think Memphis has much of a chance of coming back. The only question is, can they extend it?
Yeah, right.
Maybe make it a 5 or 6 games, and I doubt it. I mean, they'll be lucky to make it 5, I think. Reality is, all the other series, though, which for NBA first round, this year is a little bit of a surprise, because normally, if you look at the history of it, usually a lot of these first round series are blowouts and 4-game, 5-game sweep. Especially if Indiana, if Orlando beats Boston, Milwaukee beats Indiana, those series we thought would be sweep will not be. They'll go 6 games.
Yeah.
Or 7.
Right.
And usually this could be a year where you'll have more 7-game first round series than previous years.
Yeah. And that'd be something.
And that would be great.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
And it's great. I'm sure for
and TV, NBA would love it.
Yes. Because
that's more games on TV.
Right. And them ratings can help.
Ratings. And then these games really mean something.
Yeah. All of them. And you could tell the difference in play.
Oh yeah, this is not regular season. You put on the NBA now. These guys, it's you could see it's amped up.
Yep, it's over. And I almost forgot about this. Just happened to look over there. Is it Cleveland? They play today, right, against the Heat?
Cleveland plays today.
I think it's an early game, right?
1:00 TNT. This is a big game because now Cleveland played and won Thursday night. It was a good game, and Miami came back and made it a game, but Cleveland pulled it out.
Right.
These games have been, the first game wasn't that competitive. The Thursday game, the second game was.
Yeah.
So Miami obviously is looking not to go down 0-3. Miami looking to make it a series, and this Saturday, today's game at 1:00 is going to be really important.
Yeah,
because it's going to dictate how long where this series is going to go.
Oh, for sure. And this is in Miami.
In Miami,
I think they gotta limit Cleveland's 3-point shooting, because once they get warm,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's hard. Then I don't care if you got a lead or not. They come back, they clamp down on you. Then they run a lot of ISOs for Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
And then if he doesn't have the shot, he finds the open guy and 3-pointer. I mean, they just eat you alive with it. So, if they can limit that and keep that close, the old Miami Heat way, they can definitely be in it. And if that happens, then we could look towards, like you said, series keep getting extended. All these great for the NBA. They need the ratings. They need all this, and that's what they want. So right now, a lot of things is looking that way. But we'll see. This weekend.
This weekend.
This is the big time.
Is kind of the old fork in the road.
Yep.
With the series is you get there and you're going to go which way. This weekend will dictate where these series are going.
Right.
Are they going to potentially with Cleveland a sweep, or Miami wins a game or 2 games? Then all of a sudden you have a series. Same thing with Denver versus LA and Houston and Golden State. Now they're both sitting at LA Clippers are up 2-1. Houston Golden State's 1-1. So bottom line, though, you're going to get a real feel of where these series are going to go by the end of the weekend. You'll really have an idea. Does Boston and Orlando and Indiana and Milwaukee turn into a series?
Right.
Because if Orlando and Milwaukee win Sunday, they tie it up 2-2. Now all of a sudden you got a series.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Now, I mean, the kicker would be, it's probably not going to happen, but could you imagine if Orlando beat Boston in the first round? That would be outrageous.
Yeah, that'd be something.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can.
But Orlando's a young team. They look good. They were in the first game for the half, and then the second half they fell apart. The second game they didn't play that well. But last night, now Boston's complaining about the referees. But the referees are letting these guys play physical. They're like we talked about. You said they are they are playing very physical basketball. The referees have swallowed their whistles. They're not turning into a free throw. Now, maybe if there's a fight or two, then they'll tighten it up. But until then, I think they're going to let these guys have at it in play.
Yeah. I mean, I actually just like it a lot better.
I do too.
I'm not trying to say, a fight or, overly physical or doing blatant things.
Yeah.
They're not that. We're just talking a lot of bumping. Yeah. A lot of guys get knocked off their spots and things like that. That's basketball instead of a derby that we watch out here, a 3-point mania that's shooting all day. That's not the pure basketball to me. This is in my opinion. We do got some great shooters out there, but come on, man, we taking away from the mid-range game, down low. We want all that. We want all the facets of the game to be played, and that's what you want to see. And then you want to give guys a defensive chance to be able to stop guys.
Yeah.
So, if it's a little bumping here and there, then that's what we should get. A little bumping. Not that you put your hands on it and the whistle goes off. That's insane. So
right. And that's one thing we're not getting, and we hope we continue not to get that.
Right.
We don't want the bumping or the being called, and teams are either the players are in foul trouble and they're in the bonus and they're shooting free throws, and all it becomes is a free throw shooting contest.
Right.
And then the game just slows down to a crawl.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the game because it keeps the pace of the game going.
Yeah.
When they're not blowing the whistle and calling a lot of fouls.
I hate when a game gets uneven.
Right.
It's almost unwatchable.
Right. And then it gets to the point where, and then they have the replays and that kind of thing. And it grinds almost to a halt. And then and then if they're shooting a lot of threes, then they have a tendency to stand around.
Yeah.
And it could really be a tough watch at times, just the constant, especially if the referees are getting a lot of whistles and it's a lot of ticky-tack fouls. If they're letting the guys play physically, it's just, to me, the game goes. It flows better. Yeah, you might get upset that you don't get the call, but as long as they're calling that consistent both ways of the ball, you don't care.
Yeah, as long as it's consistent. It's not not one team or another getting an advantage.
Right.
So, yeah, but I definitely enjoyed those, like I said, physical games. And Detroit, New York, and Golden State and Houston, they have been reminiscent of the good old days. It has been. I mean, they're talking trash. Yeah, I mean, I even see them let something go that I've done seen. Who was it? Beasley. Beasley dunked the other night on a fast break, and then he point right in the guy's face.
Oh,
he didn't do it for a minute. He held it there and kept it. And everybody's saying, "Where's the tech?" They didn't call it. They just let him keep on playing.
They let him play.
Now that could rile everybody up that he was pointing at him. But they let it go. But that's the old way. Just
fine.
let him play.
That's the old way. That's fine.
Just go ahead.
Yeah, just let him play.
He didn't push him. He didn't do nothing. He just pointed at him.
They just pointed at him. That's fine.
It's a part of the game. It's a lot of mental parts of the game, and we love that part too.
Yeah,
it's mental. It's mental. You should just, hey, it's a long game. You have your opportunity to get that same guy back later.
Yeah.
Whether it's a jumper or whatever it is, you got a chance. So just wait until your turn.
Wait and see.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, me too.
I like that. This is, to me, the NBA this time of year. But what I like, these series are going, I think, like the Indiana, Milwaukee, Boston, Orlando, you thought were going to be the sweep, may turn into really good series, especially if Orlando and Milwaukee can win.
If they can win.
Today, this weekend, if they can win.
Yeah, that's going to be major if they can win.
That's tomorrow night. But if both teams can win, you're going to have series, 2-2.
Yes, you will.
Saturday morning sports page. Back after a quick timeout on Western Reserve Radio.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Meet Josh.
Hi, everybody.
Josh is a high school basketball player, solid shooter, great teammate.
Hey, don't forget my tenacious D.
And he's my son.
Oh.
So, what does Josh do to be the best basketball player he can be?
I play tennis.
Studies show that student athletes here in Ohio who play more than one high school sport are more likely to excel. Tennis does more than improve Josh's conditioning. It gives him a fresh competitive outlet, reduces the risk of injury by cross-training, and introduces him to different coaching techniques and new friends.
Don't get me wrong, hoops are my first love. Tennis just gives me a little break.
So when the new season begins, Josh isn't burned out on basketball. He's eager to play, and you can see the difference in his game.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Saturday morning sports page, back at you. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. 330-707-4202. Talked obviously NBA first quarter of the show. A lot going on. Great games. Great weekend for NBA. Then obviously we have the draft. Today is starting round 4.
Right.
So they've done 3 rounds. And obviously the elephant in the room is what is going on with Shedeur Sanders not being drafted. Mel Kiper says he's the best quarterback and he keeps saying this.
Oh, yeah.
Mel Kiper standing by.
Yeah.
Says the Giants, took Jackson Dart. They traded up first round to get Jackson Dart. He says, yeah, I know Jackson Dart's good, but he's not as good as Shedeur Sanders. Mel Kiper says he's the best quarterback in this draft. He says even better than Cam Ward.
Yeah, I know.
He's been saying this from pretty much day one.
Yeah. He's been saying it a long time.
He's been saying it forever.
Yep.
So yesterday's draft, or rounds 2 and 3, New Orleans took Schluck.
Yeah,
Shuck.
Yeah.
From Louisville. Tyler, yeah, okay. Yeah. They take him. It takes Shedeur. Mm-hmm. And then Cleveland turns around.
Yeah, now that's funny right there. Even though there's nothing wrong with this guy, but it's still, this is funny.
Cleveland turns and they draft Gabriel.
Yeah, Dylan
Gabriel, who's 5'11" if he's that.
Yeah, I don't even think he's that.
I don't think he's that. Short. He's athletic. He's a good player.
Yeah.
But he's definitely not as good as Shedeur.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And then the Seahawks turn around and they take Jalen Milroe.
Right.
Now, Milroe is more athletic than Shedeur. He's very athletic.
Yeah. See, I put him in a different category.
Yeah, he's a different category.
Because he just brings other things to the table. He's like a poor man Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
Because Lamar is such a better passer now. Right. Remember when he first came, he wasn't.
No, he was not.
And Milroe's got to be redefined as a passer, but his athletic skills is
through the roof.
Yes.
So Jalen Milroe goes to Seattle, but there are a lot of people that felt Jalen Milroe was more athletic. Could he move? He could do a lot, and he was better than Shedeur in those areas as far as moving around, making plays with his legs. Shedeur doesn't really do that, but Shedeur is a better passer. He's more refined. But then I guess the thing that I can't figure out now, what's Pittsburgh going to do? If the Steelers are looking at, the Steelers are coming up. They had they didn't have a second round pick. They had the third round, but they didn't take Shedeur.
Right.
Because I thought, and I think everybody thought that Shedeur was going to go first round to the Steelers. I did.
Yeah.
But they let him go, and then last night they had the third round pick, and they didn't take him.
Right. And I wasn't really upset at Pittsburgh's first pick with Harmon because, Cam Hayward is still a top lineman, but he's, as they say, old in the tooth.
He's getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, so you want to get a younger guy in there that can run stuff, and Harmon can do that. That's okay. Now I thought the next time they would come, but then they still got some holes to fill. But you know what? I still think they may get him.
Well,
I still think they may do it in the fourth or fifth round.
The way this thing's going to fold out, fourth round today. Yeah, Tennessee. No, they're not going to take him. Let's look at it. Jacksonville today, and the Giants aren't. New England's not. Jacksonville again. The Vegas Raiders obviously are. Well, I thought maybe the Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, and you wonder, will they?
Will they take him?
They picked up those extra picks.
Right,
they do
and they didn't. Like, I thought they would take him at the end of the third round with those compensatory picks.
Yeah.
And they didn't at 2.
Right.
And they didn't take him. And then Vegas is today, they have the 6th pick in the 4th round today. So there's a possibility maybe they take him. But after that, it's the Bears. The Jets probably are not going to take him.
Yeah.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, you never know
with
there.
The Jets.
They still, you still got to wonder too, because you don't know what's going to come about with Fields.
Right.
You don't really know. So putting somebody, now you're looking at your quarterback room, you could bring him in.
You could.
You definitely could do that now.
Obviously, the Saints aren't going to take him because they.
Yeah, well, now you wouldn't, since they took. Unless you're a team like, how Mike Shanahan was back in the day when he took RG3 and then came back later in the third or fourth round and took our guy Cousins. So
right.
you never know.
That could be interesting because they have the 11th pick.
And that's who, the Saints?
San Francisco Saints have the 10th pick.
Okay.
San Francisco is the 11th pick. Obviously, they're trying to work out the extension with Brock Purdy. I don't know if they would maybe consider taking him.
Oh, that'd be a shocker to everybody.
It would be a shock.
Yeah, that'd be a shocker to everybody.
And then when you start looking at the landscape of round 4, is Miami sitting at 14? There was rumor he may go there. Some people think that the Indianapolis Colts should take him because a lot of people do not believe Richardson's going to make it in the NFL. And they have Daniel Jones. So everybody looks at the Colts as maybe just, you need to get a quarterback. You have a stopgap here, but either one of these guys is not your long-term solution in some experts' eyes.
Right.
Now, some people believe Richardson can turn the corner, develop into an NFL quarterback. The problem you have, he didn't play that much in college. We talk about this all the time. The NFL does not have time to develop quarterbacks because you lose games. Can't do it. Not in this NFL, not this day and age. 20, 40 years ago, maybe they did that. Not now.
Yeah.
The NFL, it's because you have to win, win, win. You're not going to continue to struggle with a quarterback who can't win you games. Can't do it.
Yeah.
So either Richardson needs to kind of turn the corner this year or he's out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they'll give him a couple because you remember he was a first round pick. So
right. He was that first round. So they may keep him, but they know long term he's not the guy.
Yeah. If they can give him
because they got him the rookie contract.
Yeah, he got to show him.
But he's got to do something this year. He's got to make a vast improvement from he struggled. He was up and down last year.
Well, and you are if you are not on the field too. So he's got to stay.
But you need to win games. So you're getting into, that's like that ultimate catch-22 you get in is Richardson needs starts. He needs to develop his game. Indianapolis can't lose games, and there's your problem is you've got to have a guy who you're trying to develop, but he's got to go out and win football games. And if he's still in the developmental stage, he's not like Will Levis. Levis is a pretty good quarterback, but he turns the ball over at so many inopportune times. Tennessee's not going to have it. They're just not going to keep him because he loses too many games. So you're getting into this with the Colts are in a catch-22 here. It's because you've got the first-round guy in Richardson who's got talent, but he just is still in developmental stage. Sadly, he should have stayed in college another year, but he did not. So now he's in this crosshairs with the Colts. Can he turn the corner and really start to win games and develop? Yeah. So then they have Daniel Jones in there, and that's the other catch-22. Are they going to put who's going to start here? If you start Daniel Jones and keep Richardson on the bench, you're not helping him by sitting him on the bench.
Yeah. Well,
he's got to play.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to play, but it's according to what his development is. If they feel sometimes, just like we talked about Brian Young down in Carolina. Everybody kept saying that he's got to play. But the best thing that ever happened to him was Andy Dalton was able to start, and the game slowed down to him by watching.
Right. He picked it up.
And then when he got back in there, he's the quarterback now.
He's the guy.
You could see it.
You could see it.
And see, they never did that with Richardson.
Right. The light went on.
Right. Every time Richardson got in, he played well a game, then he didn't. Then he then he gets injured.
Right.
And then he's out 3 weeks. Then he comes back.
Right.
And he's out 5 games. You can't do that.
No.
It's not the loser of the game. He's never had a chance to develop. This might be the perfect situation for him now. Not Flacco. It's not that he couldn't learn from him. He definitely can. But with Daniel Jones being a younger guy, they really got similar skill sets.
Yeah,
it's just Daniel Jones is a better passer in accuracy and everything of that nature. So if he has to sit behind Daniel Jones, I don't think it's over then. But I think if they're not winning, he might be the guy to bring him back in.
If they're not winning,
or they're just not flowing well. But him sitting back and allowing that game to slow down to him and get in there, I think he'd be better off. He's just thrown in there, and he hasn't faced this kind of fire. Sometimes you can't never reel in getting what you need. So, I mean, this is OTAs, training camp. All this is vital for Richardson to be there, stay healthy. If Daniel Jones win the job, I don't think there's anything to worry about unless Daniel Jones goes out and plays on fire.
Great.
Well, you can't do it. He's the starter.
He's the guy.
Now you keep Richardson because he's so young.
Right.
You got it down the road. Jones could be great, and the next year he fall off. Now you got the guy ready still to go in, still under a rookie contract. So you're in a good situation there. I don't know if you want to get another guy and put it in and complicate matters more. So
well, and that's going to be the question.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to do that there.
Want to do that,
but I think other places you done said that would be interesting is you don't think about it. I think San Francisco is interesting. I don't even know who is the backup. They said it one day to Brock Purdy, but it's probably not a guy that you can see that's going to be any kind of long range starter. You bring Shador in there, Now I done heard other things though. They don't want him because it'd be too much fanfare and cameras and all this stuff rolling around. So that's why they don't want him in there.
And I don't know. Yeah, I know.
But that's fake. Because I'm going to say this from firsthand.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it at all because somebody mentioned this yesterday to me and I said, okay, I'm going to tell you something. I've been going to the Hall of Fame probably the last about 20 years. And it's only a few of them I didn't go, but other people did go that we always go there. The last 6 years when the Hall of Fame changed over to the NFL status of their stadium and everything was NFL, when I went there, I couldn't believe they had, media row. And I looked, nice. Right. When they started this, I said, what is all this big kilometer? They said each team has a media section that are cameras and guys that follow around players that's coming. Right. They follow them around for extra video type things that they want to play for different shows and this. And I said, they follow it? And they said, yeah. So I looked, all 32 have these people there. This is just the Hall of Fame weekend. And I said, they just do this they said, no, that's all season long.
All season.
So you're not going to tell me you're worrying about some cameras. That's fake. What else do they do that's big every year? What is it called? Started with HBO with the
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks. You don't want people to come on. That stuff is the biggest reality show ever. It's all in everything. So just stop all that nonsense.
Don't they have it even during the year? They have Hard Knocks.
Right. During the year.
Yeah, they have it 2 or 3 times.
So it started off just that one little thing. Now it's all
right.
So all that is just something to try to make you think something else. They got all this conspiracy theories out there.
Oh yeah,
and it's ruining a lot of things. But I tell you, he gets to the right spot. He has a chance, just like Tom Brady did. To show them
what's gonna. You see, and therein lies the point. Is for the record, the San Francisco 49ers backup to Brock Purdy is Tanner Mordecai.
That's all that's on the roster?
That's all that's sitting on the roster. Tanner Mordecai. He played he's with the Niners. He was with Wisconsin. He was with SMU. 2023, he was with the Badgers. In 2021, he was the SMU. He was undrafted in 2024. So he is the backup to.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Yes, that's that you brung up them and you didn't actually. You just looked that up, so you didn't know the situation.
No,
but you You tell me that's.
Well,
I mean, even though they are young, you got a young Brock Purdy, but man,
no. But and this is the point: is if you're. This is what I was thinking because you know that. Shanahan is the quarterback whisperer. He can make these guys. So if you're Dion, if you're Shador, maybe you go there.
Right.
Maybe you're back up to Purdy, but and Purdy will be the guy, but he's been, he gets injured. And again, that may be the spot. I think where he's going to ultimately go. And I keep saying this. And if the Steelers don't take him, the Steelers have the 21st pick today. 21st in round 4, 123 overall. Okay. Pittsburgh sits there. If I'm a Steeler fan and you're rolling out Rudolph and there's your guy, and you don't know what Rodgers is doing, but even if you have Rodgers, you have him a year. If you don't draft Shador Sanders today, you're out of your mind. If you don't take him in the 4th round, and then I think this is where I ultimately think he's going. If for some reason Steelers don't take him, and I saw a mock draft a couple weeks ago, the Rams sit at 25. Yeah, no. That's where I think he goes. I don't even know today.
That's interesting. Who's Stafford's pick backup?
Is it Mullins? Is it? I have to look it up.
Is it Mullins?
Is it Mullins?
See that? I'm telling you.
But if I was the Rams, and I'm actually personally, I think it would work out to Shador's favor.
Oh yeah,
if he goes to like a McVay.
Yeah, no.
Some people believe is the best coach in the NFL. He's definitely. You could argue, but I think he's the best offensive mind in the NFL, but I think he could be the best coach. If you're Shador Sanders, that's where you would want to go, is you would want to go to LA and you could learn a lot and under that system with McVay, because or Shanahan up in the 49ers, because both those guys, I would say Shanahan and McVay are probably the two best quarterback whisperers, if you want to refer to that.
I'm just thinking in the same conference.
Right. And they're in that same division. And basically,
too, but wow.
Here's the depth chart for the Niners. I mean, the Rams. It's Jimmy Garoppolo and Stetson Bennett.
Okay. That's enough.
But I think if you are...
that's enough. That's all you had to
The Rams, I don't know. If you're today's draft, I'm going to go out on a limb. I think he goes. It's either if
I did see him on the Rams mock draft too before.
I saw that on going in late in the 1st round. Shador Sanders went to the Rams.
Yeah,
but all of a sudden now it's like he's fallen off the proverbial cliff here. But I think that if the Niners maybe. But if he doesn't go, I think the Steelers, I don't know why they would not. I don't understand why they wouldn't draft him.
They didn't draft one.
No.
Dart came back in the 1st round going to the Giants, right?
Right.
You went to the, am I right? It's the Giants, right?
Yeah, the Giants moved up. They didn't give up much. They only really gave up 2 third-round picks to move up. So the Giants are taking a chance on Dart. I'm a Giant fan. I'm all right with that. Some Giant fans are upset because one Gio, who's on with Boomer, he was shouting at some fan about that Jackson Dart's a system quarterback for Mississippi stinks. He's not any good. And he's a bust. And that's what, in essence, he said that. I'm paraphrasing, but he's yelling at a fan because the fan goes, "You didn't go to any Mississippi games." The guy goes, "I don't care. I didn't see a Mississippi game, but I could tell you right off the top, he's nothing but a system quarterback. And, he's not an NFL quarterback." Bottom line. So
we'll get to see.
We're going to see.
Yeah, but he's in a good place with veteran quarterbacks, though. I will say that. Because if they can get 2 seasons out of Wilson.
Yeah, if they could get 2 seasons, and if they could... Dart has a potential, I think, and Gary Danielson said this on Mad Dog's show. He said that Dart, it would really help him to sit at least a year and learn.
Yeah.
So he's in the right system because you got Russell Wilson, and you're right. If they can get 2 seasons, they got Wilson under a 1-year deal, Jameis under 2. But if they do well this year and they can renew Wilson for another year and then maybe bring Dart in. Now, some people think they should try to play Dart sometime during the year to see what he has. They'll play him in exhibition. But he's in a good situation, Dart is.
Yeah.
But if Pittsburgh today, I don't know how or why they wouldn't draft Shedeur Sanders in the 4th round.
I think that team, I believe the Rams, I like that. San Francisco would be a surprise. That would be shocking, but I mean, I'm just, when you looked at that depth chart, I mean, you need to get another guy. You get, regardless if they draft him or not, they got to bring somebody else in.
Yeah, San Francisco needs to go. You got to get another guy.
Yeah, you got to get another guy.
You can't go in. You can't have Brock Purdy and Tanner Mordecai.
Yeah.
As being your.
They'd be mortified.
Yeah.
If Brock Purdy get
right.
And that's not a knock against Mordecai, but that's just putting a guy in a spot with a team that's normally, now I know they got a lot of things to fill, but that's a team that normally is at the top echelon of the NFC. So, you know, and they expect to still be there regardless if they lost those guys. They expect to be still a thorn in people's side. So they got to get a veteran there just in case. So, I mean, it just make you, I can't see Cleveland. I'm not Cleveland, but Pittsburgh going to the season with Rudolph and nobody else. I just can't see that. I can see you going Rudolph starting. You drafted Shedeur,
right?
And you got this thing. Well, if this doesn't work, I can go this way, but not to go with nobody. No, I can't see that. And you ain't went to none of these other free agents before, so why go to him now? You waiting on Aaron Rodgers. I understand he's in a catch-22. Tomlin is one of them things that he has enough talent defensively and now picked up that offense that, hey, maybe we can win now. So you want an Aaron Rodgers because that could put you right there. But, you're in a catch-22. You got to get somebody in there.
Here's the point.
You got to get somebody.
Is Nick Saban said it yesterday. We're going to talk more about it top of the hour, third quarter of the show about why we think Shedeur is not getting drafted. Bottom line is, and I don't understand it. I mean, I know all of the noise out there, but you've got. I still think I like Kiper. I do agree with Kiper's right in that Mel Kiper said he was the best quarterback.
Yeah, no,
he had him better than Cam Ward.
Right.
But I'll say, I think he's at least the second best in this draft. Yeah. I'm a Giant fan. I know they like Dart. He's Mississippi. He's tied in with Eli Manning. Yada, yada. Okay, I get it. If I was a Giant fan, I'd still rather have Shedeur. But all right, we'll see how Dart goes. But I would rather take Shedeur over Dart. And I thought that's what the Giants were kind of going to do, but I had a feeling they were going to go Dart, but I was hoping they would go Shedeur, but I knew they weren't.
Yeah. And I seen in Daniel Jeremiah, another guy that does, he had put
Daniel
Cam.
Jeremiah is excellent too, by the way.
And he had Ward, and he said slightly behind, he puts Shedeur.
Right.
And then Dart. He said Dart is moving up.
Yeah, Dart moved up.
He said, and then he liked Shook too.
Right.
He said, but after that, it gets
a
little. So he said, other guys, they're good passers. When he seen Dylan Gabriel went to that draft last night when he came on
with the Browns.
Yeah, he was like,
what? Right.
Okay, it's a quarterback, and it's not Shedeur.
No.
He said something's wrong here.
See, I can see Seattle taking Milroe a little bit if you didn't want Shedeur because you just said it. Milroe is a different kind of mindset because he's just a runner. He's a Lamar Jackson, but he's you could get him if you get his passing. And Nick Saban said that last night. He said Milroe can make great throws, but he's a little erratic with that.
Right.
But he can move around and make things. And I think he's a better version of Richardson for the Colts.
Right.
I think Richardson has a great potential, but he's got to, you got to work him around, and you hope he could turn that corner and be your guy. Milroe, if he sits behind, he's going to be behind Darnold, but I think he may see some snaps. But okay, you took Milroe over Shador, maybe because you wanted more of an athletic quarterback, but I don't see the Browns. I don't know why they took Dylan Gabriel over Shador.
I don't know.
I don't understand that one. I don't understand.
I don't get that one.
You see, I'm a Giant fan. I was hoping Shador, but I knew they were going to go Jackson Dart because I've been reading the New York sports, and they love Dart from the go. I mean, I'm talking a couple months ago. Yeah. They like Jackson Dart.
Right.
He's got a relationship with Eli, and Eli's got with the Giants, and I think there's a tie-in with Dable somewhere. So I know they were going to do that.
Right.
Okay, but I would have rather, being the fan, I think Shador's got an upside, is a better quarterback, but be as it may. But if you're the Browns, how did you go with Dylan Gabriel over Shador? I don't understand that.
Yeah. That's why I said they took a quarterback, so I take them out of the running of taking another one.
No, they're not going to take.
They're not going to do it now.
No.
So since Pittsburgh didn't, I think that's Rams. I like that one. Definitely like that one.
See, I think he's got. I think he's got. He should go to the Steelers today, and if he doesn't go to the Steelers today, the Rams take him. I think fourth round. I think he goes in the fourth round to either the Steelers or the Rams. Would be my guess.
Yeah. Because it doesn't make no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't want to, and all that. We'll get to the old other crap later.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anyway, Saturday morning sports page halftime. We'll back after this.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Catch all of the spring and summer action of Cleveland Cobras minor league football on Western Reserve Radio. Follow the Cobras as they compete against teams from around the region in pursuit of a Tri-Point Football League championship. And if you're looking to continue your football career after high school, college, or even the pros, or to be part of the Cobras staff, go to Facebook at Cleveland Cobras Football or contact owner Jesse Caldwell at 330-416-3442. Be a part of the excitement of Cleveland Cobras football. Nina's Pierogi House is your home for the area's best variety of pierogies. Daily specials include the Polish platter, the Hungarian platter, stuffed cabbage, and halushki. Having a last-minute get-together? Lena's has you covered with a wide variety of frozen take-home pierogies and dumplings. Go to Facebook at Lena's Pierogi House to see the weekly lineup of available flavors for dine-in or carry-out. Catch the best at Lena's Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 20 North Main Street in Hubbard, or call 234-254-8532.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Saturday morning sports page. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, 330-707-4202. Shedeur Sanders. This is almost the Shedeur Sanders draft for the most part. I mean, you watched. I know ESPN. There were some people critical of ESPN's coverage because they said that it was too focused on Shedeur Sanders, and that there was just too much. But I mean, the reality is that's what it was coming into this.
Right.
Everybody kept saying the draft was going to start when Shedeur got drafted.
Yeah.
And everybody thought he was going number 2 or 3. He was going to, if he turns into a Patrick Mahomes type player.
Yeah, that's going to be
Or
funny.
if he turns into really a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah. And even the team that drafts him, he could be upset with them too because they all passed him.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, people go, oh, New England, they passed on Brady for how many rounds, right?
And yep, and he even said it.
And he
said, I want to show them too because they
you
did
waited
pass him.
6 rounds, right?
Yeah.
Brady was a 6th round pick.
Yeah, 199.
199.
And he was thinking, and I could understand him. They didn't think your guy Drew Bledsoe was going to get injured. I mean, he was not an old quarterback, and he was at the top of his game. He was playing really good for New England. You was just filling out your roster and getting your quarterback.
That's what he was
together.
doing. They were just
they just fell onto a great guy.
And he had Mo Lewis to this day is going to go down in New England. Mo Lewis belongs in the New England Patriot Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Because that hit he administered on Drew Bledsoe started this whole
thing.
Tom Brady.
Yep.
And that's how Brady got in and
never really
turned back pretty much.
That was it.
But the hit from Mo Lewis when he ruptured Bledsoe's spleen, causing Bledsoe to miss the rest of the season and then some. But that hit basically because if Bledsoe doesn't get hurt,
I don't know.
Brady's not starting. I mean, Brady doesn't get the job. I mean, it's just certain things happen. It's the old get into the old go back to baseball. It's the Wally Pip. I have a headache. I can't play. So Lou Gehrig goes in to first base, and guess what? Lou Gehrig plays 2,031 consecutive games.
Yeah.
It's like Mo Lewis hits Drew Bledsoe before he goes out of bounds, ruptures his spleen, and sure enough, who steps in? Tom Brady, because he was right place at the right time, and he waited a year before he played. So, and there he walks in, and he took over.
Yeah. And he was excellent all the way down.
Yeah. And he just played like he knew what he was doing, sort of to speak, but he took it over and played great. And he became the man and stayed there for how many years? But the whole point of it is, that's the thing with the Shedeur thing. I know the reason why, at least we were kind of talking about why are they passing on him? And watching Nick Saban kind of put it in a way that just said, what happens a lot of times is there's so much information that goes out on these players. Some of it's false. Some of it might be correct. Some of it might be halfway. Like some of it's not right. Some of it is. It just depends. But he goes, a lot of it becomes the truth. And people keep reading it and then they believe it. It's not necessarily true. And he goes, and you and I have talked about it, and I'll get your take on this, Dave. But we've seen players, teams talk themselves into a player, and then the teams can talk themselves out of drafting somebody. And I kind of think this is a situation where the NFL teams have just talked themselves out of drafting Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
He has a Bentley, he made money. I've heard, he seems privileged. Right. He didn't do good in these interviews. He turns people off with maybe the way he, wants to do things. Again, I'm reading into a lot of the crap. But at the end of the day, can this guy go out and play football?
Yeah, and that's what Bucky Brooks was saying.
Right.
He said, let's turn the film on.
Right.
Let's look at that.
Let's turn the film on.
He's not driving a Bentley on the football field. Does he play the game? And not only that, is he prepared? That's what he said. As a quarterback, you got to be prepared.
Right. That's the key.
And you can see that he's always prepared.
Right. That's the key.
He never goes in there and looks like I don't know what I'm doing.
No.
He's prepared. He knows where everybody's supposed to be at.
Right.
That's leadership. He said, so he's got all the tangibles to be a quarterback. Does he run? No. You would think, man, he should have that blazing speed like his dad.
Right.
But he's not like that. Now, he's got enough maneuverability that he can slide around the pocket and do different things and roll out. He can do those things, but he's not your guy like a Lamar Jackson that he move around and he takes off.
No.
It's over. The Jalen Milrows, the Justin Fields, they're gone.
No, they're gone.
So he's not that guy, but he has enough maneuverability in the pocket, and then he's a pocket passer. He can throw from the pocket accurately and on time.
Well, that's what.
So he don't understand why is he still around?
No,
there's no reason.
Because I heard Greg Cosell break him down, and on Colin Cowherd, and he was saying, he talked about accuracy's good. He didn't break some mechanical issues that are very coachable.
Right.
But he thought, no, he's definitely one of the top prospects coming out.
Well, when it started with that patent of football.
Oh, yeah.
And then Tom Brady had to come on the show to look at this.
Yeah, watch Brady film.
Yeah. And then he said, and then they started showing all the players around the league, even past players. Way back, they patted. So what is this big thing about Woody pat the football? They had to go back to a film showing Johnny Unitas.
Oh, yeah.
That he did it later, but in his early years, and I do remember that the Unitas used to drop back with both hands on the football, and then he hold it like that up high, and then he release it because that's how they was taught.
Right,
and they were more mechanical. As guys got more athletic, you seen guys go in the pocket. He said now they showed Joe Namath. Joe Namath would never put the hand on the football. He'll go back just with one. His hands was big.
Right, he had giant.
And they say he'll just turn it over and just throw it.
Yeah, he would just flip.
He didn't have to pat it, and then they showed other times he did, but he didn't have to because his big hands.
Namath had an unbelievable release of the ball and throw the ball. Like I was lucky. We had season tickets to the Jets as a kid growing up back in the late 60s. So I got to see a lot of Joe Namath because the AFL was an easy ticket to get.
Yeah, right.
Couldn't get the Giant tickets. They were impossible to get. We occasionally did get the tickets to the Giants, but we had season tickets to the Jets.
Oh.
We went to all of the Jet games and actually 66, 67, and 68, and then into 69. And I watched Joe Namath, and Joe Namath had an unbelievable natural release of the ball, and he could throw the ball 60 yards on a dime, just drop back, and he would just like warm up. You would watch him get there early, watch Joe Namath warming up, and he would just release the ball at 30, 40 yards, like just throwing little darts.
Yeah.
And then ultimately he'd take off the jacket, the warm-up jacket. He would throw him 60 yards, nothing. But the point is, Namath had an unbelievable release. And I see, I'm just saying that I that's why with what I don't understand is quarterback hungry as the NFL teams are. And these teams know they can coach anybody. Like they see a guy, okay, he's got this, we can coach him.
Right.
And you see Shedeur Sanders, you thinking, and this kid's obviously his father coached him. And I'm sure Deion coached him hard because it's his son. So if you're a coach and you see this kid's ability, you got all the film in the world. He's got enough starts in the college. It's not like Richardson with the Colts. He only played 12 games. No, he's played, 50, 60 games in the college. This kid's got the starts. I mean, what have they just read so much crap out there on the internet and Twitter, and now they just believe that this guy is like a pariah?
Yeah. They have to, because if he was like that, something would, as much media has been around Colorado and before that, Jackson State, they would have started talking about this guy he doesn't do this. You didn't hear anything.
No.
Media
he hasn't played one game since in 5 months or 4 months.
Right.
And now all of a sudden
he's terrible.
He's what? he's not draftable because you don't like he has a Bentley and you don't like his social media and he's got jewelry and bling and well, because colleges allow these kids to have that now. That's college now. It's not like it was 10 years ago.
Merle Hodge, let's talk about that guy.
I mean,
he always got something negative to say about all kind of people. Yeah, I remember he said that Eric Dickerson is just a little flash in the pan. I remember his analogy to him. He's not going to be much of anything. He's too upright, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame. He's got a gold jacket. Not you, Merle Hodge. And he's got all this stuff. So he said that Shedeur will be a disaster. And he's hoping and praying. He says he's been even calling Pittsburgh, so do not draft that guy because he's going to be a disaster for your team. He can't play. So how do you get that he can't play? And I'm watching film. I'm watching games. Now, if you say I don't like certain things, I'm okay with you saying that, but you can't say he can't play football.
Yeah, but right.
Don't. I mean,
you could be critical, but it's like when I heard Greg Cosell break him down, but he says like Cosell does everybody, and he says these are the areas to improve. But they're minor, they're like issues that a good coach could watch enough film and say, hey, you're either your footwork, and these are the areas you work on. And it's like, that's what I don't understand is you've watched what Shedeur's done. And you mean to tell me there's not a coach out there that just basically says, yeah, well, he could make this kid's good. He's got the genes, he's got dad. I mean, he's got the athletic, at least he's got, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The competitive edge is there from Deion, his dad. Deion coached him pretty hard, knowing Deion. So this is what cracks me up. I'm a Giant fan. I know they took Dart. I'm okay with it, but I would have rather had Shedeur. I'm sorry. I'm a Giant fan. I'd rather have Shedeur Sanders as the quarterback. The only problem is, though, maybe the drawback is he doesn't move around with the Giants being the way they are with that offensive line. That could hurt him because of the line's not very good, and he couldn't move away from the contact. And I know they keep saying that Shedeur, his problem is he takes too many sacks, but then he had a lousy line there.
That's what they was talking about too. How do you play that well when you had no running game,
none,
and no offensive line?
Right.
For most of your entire college career.
Especially in Colorado, he had neither.
Right.
He didn't have a line, he didn't have a running game.
Right.
And then you're saying
you can still do that?
Right. See, I don't understand any of this. So that's why I just think, well, why do you think he's dropping? You've heard me rant and rave.
You Dave outside. I don't even get it. But it's got, I feel it's something personal. And I also think it's got a lot to do with when you're talking about Saban saying the different things.
Right.
That, all the conspiracy theories. Right. Then you start thinking about it. Then it becomes that reality. It really is happening.
Yes.
And then you start talking about it. And you talk, when we have conversations, we talk like that happened.
Right. And it didn't. But you make it because you keep saying it over and over again. You believe it. Yeah. It's like George Costanza on Seinfeld saying it's not a lie if you believe it. It's the same thing because you actually think that, after a while, all this crap coming out on him, I don't even know what's true and what's not.
Well, that's what.
And
Bucky
now all of a sudden it's true.
Yeah,
and it's
Bucky
not.
Brooks said it. Him and Daniel Jeremiah, they said they didn't understand that. You hear like Merle Hodge saying that this guy's is not he's not a dedicated football player, blah, blah, blah. Where did he get this from? He's not prepared.
Right.
Then they went back to show him from Jackson State.
Right.
And all the way through. He's always prepared. He was always prepared with their game plan and what they're doing. You didn't see him out there, and he wasn't a guy that he got his team, he galvanized his team, he did all those things. So where did he come up with that? Something that he heard, or maybe just his own thing, because I forgot, I wanted to look at the other quotes they had about with Merle Hodge, but the one I looked at first, it had me laugh when he said that Eric Dickerson is nothing but a flash in the pan.
Yeah, he was.
He's not going to be much of anything because he runs upright.
Right.
He's not going to be able to take the pound in the NFL. He's not strong enough, blah, 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 and on and on and on.
Right.
And Eric Dickerson, he's upright, but he lowered it when he had to lower it into contact. And believe me, defenders knew about when Eric Dickerson was running the football. He was definitely physical, and we seen what type of running back he was. So, Merle Hodge, but he done said some other things in the past, like another one, this quote I love too. Pittsburgh is stupid with putting so much time into a linebacker like James Harrison because he's short, he's undersized, he went to Kent State. Right. He's not going to be able to play and hold up in the NFL. James Harrison was one of the most feared linebackers in the NFL ever. You didn't want to get hit by James Harrison. So you did not mess with that guy.
Okay.
Merle Hodge, man, he's something.
What would he have said about Jack Lambert?
Yeah. He probably didn't say much because he was close to playing near. He
was after Lambert.
Yeah.
Lambert but my point is, if you look at Lambert.
Yeah. You say he couldn't play.
You would say, if you looked at Jack Lambert, you would say, oh, that guy, he can't play linebacker in the NFL. He lacks the size. And he played for Kent State. He played in the MAC.
Right.
It's just, the competition is not even college Division I. It's really lower.
Yeah.
And how could you believe that Lambert couldn't play in the NFL? Because he's too small.
Yeah, because he's 208 pounds.
Or he was 208. He was 6'2" or 6'3".
Yeah.
And he was, 208 or 200, like you said, 208.
Yep, as I said, when he came in the NFL,
and he was
208 pounds.
Too small.
Right.
So and even back then, he was technically too small. Okay?
Yeah, back then, right. Absolutely.
And so Lambert basically did what? Became obviously, and Eric Dickerson, who ran upright for the record since we've brought him up, he only had 13,259 yards.
Yeah.
And he averaged 4.4 yards a carry.
Yeah. Being upright.
Upright player. And he averaged, we were talking about some great, as far as his seasons go, from 83 realistically until 89, he had over 1,000 yards every year.
Yeah. Another guy that he talked about, he didn't say he wouldn't be successful. He said you have to use him sparingly because of his size, great speed as a running back, and that guy was Marshall Faulk. He said he's definitely an athlete, but he's not going to. You can't run him inside. Right. You can't do this. You can't do that. You use maybe 8 carries a game,
right? Because
use him out the backfield.
He was short, smaller, but right,
pretty good. He ran it 20 and 30 times a game, inside
every time,
not outside on a sweep or a pitch. Inside he ran.
Yeah, and Marshall Faulk again only had 12,200, and he averaged 4.4 yards a carry. Dickerson was Marshall Faulk was 4.3. Eric was 4.4.
Yeah.
And obviously, Marshall Faulk had 12,279 yards to a guy that wasn't big enough to play.
Two guys together, over 25,000
right.
From the same.
So I would almost take the counter to that. I would say if Hodge says he's a disaster, i.e. he'll be a Hall of Famer. So you have to take the opposite approach. If the guy says he's going to stink, he'll be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Shedeur will be a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying that since everybody's writing him off, I just think that if he ends up getting drafted, especially I think if the Steelers don't get him, I think the Rams take him. I think McVay will take him this round. I'll go on a ledge and think that McVay will take him. He'll sit Stafford for another year and learn under Matthew Stafford. Maybe he gets some snaps and he'll get to play, but he'll bring him along and McVay will coach him up and he'll be really a really good quarterback. And the Rams will have their successor to Stafford.
Right. Yeah.
Would be my guess.
And I'm also wondering, will Vegas?
Well,
Raiders do it?
We talked about this. This came up last week that Geno's contract is really only a year.
Right.
And then they have the other option year, but i.e., that's the other one. I'm thinking that why doesn't Vegas take him?
Yeah.
Because then he could sit a year with Geno and learn, and Pete Carroll will be the coach, and Carroll's always good with the quarterbacks, and then Carroll can bring him along to take Geno's spot.
Right. And you're going to still have Tom Brady in the room.
And you got Brady in the room.
And he already has a relationship with them anyway.
So there's 3 teams. I don't see if I'm the Steelers, I don't know why the Steelers don't take him. Because I would take, if they don't take him this round, because the rumor was that the Giants traded up for Jackson Dart ahead of the Rams, because the word is the Rams were going to take him and the Giants wanted him.
Wanted Dart?
They wanted Dart. So, and this was the plan ahead of time, is the Giants were planning on making a move to get Dart in the, they were going to trade up in the first round. That was because they were talking about how they checked out Shador, Dart, and there was another quarterback. They had him in late, and people go, what are they doing? And they said the Giants' plan was to ultimately trade up into the first round and grab their quarterback. They were taking probably taking Abdul Carter because they figured that Travis would go to the Browns. Well, he went to the Jags, but they knew Travis Hunter because they were either going to take Travis or Carter, and they took Carter. So that was a no-brainer. But they were going to ultimately move up into the first round and grab a quarterback. Well, I watched the draft, and it was funny because when the Giants made that trade up, it was right before the Rams traded with Houston.
Right.
And they only gave up 2 third-rounders. And then after that, the Rams traded out and they got Atlanta's first-round pick. And Atlanta moved in, and the Rams traded out of that pick. So the Giants believed that the Rams were taking Jackson Dart had they not moved in ahead of them.
And it makes you think that since they traded out.
Right. And then, exactly.
Who did the Giants trade with?
I think it was Houston.
Okay.
I think Houston had that pick, and they traded with Houston. They gave up basically 2 third-rounders.
Okay. To get up there and get them. So, yeah, I mean, that means that a quarterback was in mind
for the Rams.
For the Rams. So with that thought process of moving along, he's probably the guy that they could. I mean, do you reach further even down? Do you say, well, no, I'm gonna go with our guy McCord or something in Syracuse and not Shador? All that or Quinn Ewers or somebody. Or none of that. Who else?
Yeah, the other guy, Ohio State, Howard.
Or Howard. You're going to take them.
You would take Howard or McCord
or Ewers.
Or Ewers over Shador?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't.
I would not.
I would. I mean, just by watching what I've seen, I mean, I just take my chance there and take Shador. But, you know, the way this thing has been, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I actually think they're trying to watch him. Now, that make me think of some collusion in it if no one drafts him. If he went, who was that said, that Steve Smith said, wonder if he went and didn't get drafted at all. He said, it's some kind of collusion. I'm sorry. He said, I would think, he said, if that happens, he said, because it's too many coaches, it's too many GMs that know that their jobs is hanging on it. They need quarterbacks.
And that's what it is.
There's no way you're going to let a guy, unless they couldn't play at all. And he said, no way you can say he can't play.
Well,
so
that's what I mean.
He's got to be drafted today.
I keep going back to it because I really like Greg Cosell because he really breaks quarterbacks down and he just calls it for what it is. And that's what I like. He doesn't really look at he looks at what the quarterback is doing on the field and he breaks down their way they drop back, the mechanics, the footwork, how they hit the receivers, where they throw the ball, where they hit the receiver at, like if they're throwing the ball behind the guy, do they have a tendency to throw it low? I mean, he breaks everything down and he said he broke down Shador Sanders and he said, no, this guy's got pretty much everything you need. There's a few things you need to work with, but it's almost like, about every quarterback that comes out always has minor.
That you got to clean up.
Right. And he said that it wasn't like major stuff. So then I'm thinking, okay. And then, even I like Mel Kiper, and he's been, how many years has he been looking at quarterbacks? And, and so, I mean, when Kiper says he's better than Cam Ward, okay, maybe you can argue that, but okay, then you're arguing 1 and 2. But when Cleveland takes Dylan Gabriel instead of Shedeur Sanders. And I mean, come on, Dylan Gabriel is basically, if he's 5'11", you're lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good, but I don't know. He'll have to move around a lot, but he's like a thinner version of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one thing with Baker. He gets the ball batted down.
Right.
But that's what I don't understand is when
I don't get it with that.
And now you've got
nothing against Dylan Gabriel because I've seen him go to every stop he's been at. Oklahoma,
he's a good,
Oregon,
good
CFS. All those schools down in Central Florida. He was good at all of them.
He's a good quarterback.
But you just can't get me to believe that you could put him. The only guy I can see that you might say I'm going to take him ahead of Shedeur is the guy Tyler Shook. And the reason I say that is because he was a guy that just unfortunately had injuries.
Yeah, he had bad injuries.
But he's an NFL ready quarterback, ready to go. Big, and then playing in certain teams, like going where it's cold, or wherever it's at, would have been perfect for him. Big guy, can throw the ball through. So going to the Saints kind of surprised me there, but it doesn't matter. This is a guy that I said, okay, that's where you want to go. Okay,
that's fine.
But Dylan Gabriel, no, I'm sorry. I can't get with that one.
I could see.
I don't get that one.
I could see a team taking Jalen Milroe. Maybe over him because Milroe is, to me,
if you just want a different type of
you want to. If you have a different offense that you want your quarterback to create and move a lot, Milroe, and then you got to work his passing. But he has shown flashes of grow. Watch, he could throw the ball well. I mean, he throws it well, and he can hit the receivers. He just needs to focus in on turnovers because he does turn it over.
You got to get consistency, and
until
he get that, learning how to place the ball where it needs to be placed, and we have to see what happened from there. But but you see, Dylan Gabriel, like I said,
I don't understand the Browns taking him.
It must be I don't want, like I said, all the hoopla or whatever. You'll probably need some hoopla in Cleveland.
It wouldn't hurt.
You might need some.
Yeah.
Because, this was the things that went on in Cleveland. You may need it.
Right.
You already lost the Travis Hunter thing. Mason Graham was a good pick. Believe me, that's a good pick. But
Saturday Morning Sports Page, back after this.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Ohio high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Saturday morning sports page back at you, 330-707-4202. As we kind of talked already, we did go through the round 4 and the way it maps itself out. And the question, I think, obviously, with everybody is where does Shedeur, because this is kind of the Shedeur Sanders draft.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. And that, you said, they were talking about too much coverage on ESPN. Well, just the way the NFL has nothing to do with the ESPN, just the NFL has handled this, all the teams, by not drafting them is, first round you didn't draft him, okay, we thought he might go. Now you go to second round. Now eyebrows start to raise when you get through the second round to the third round. You still and then when that happened and went through the third round, yes, it's a draft because you want to know.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody, Charles Davis, I've watched them on that thing with Danny Jeremiah. They said they don't. He said we on the outside, so we don't get it.
No,
at all.
No.
He said, but it's something personal. This is something personal that makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
For a guy, he said, I could see if he couldn't play. He said, but this is a guy.
But all these experts have said, that's the thing too. Is it's like Mel Kiper, and again, Greg Cosell. When these are quarterback analysts, they break it down. And when they give you their opinion, especially like Cosell, who really breaks stuff down, it's like, okay, the guy can play.
Mm-hmm.
I know but everybody's got like some of the crap baggage. And the thing is, these kids now are getting paid. And I know that ruffles a lot of people's feathers. Right. There are people in this world that don't like it, that don't like NIL, that think it's ruining the game. And it's going to poison college football for all its purity, and you can't have NIL because these kids can't be getting money because it's college football, it's amateurism, and we need to hold on to that. And it's like, if you still believe that, then, Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny aren't far off. But the problem is but the thing is that I've always said, they've always been getting paid.
Right.
Not all of them, but there have been kids getting paid. We laugh about it and joke about it on this show.
For years.
The kids have been getting money in suitcases, money in gin bags, money stuck in their lockers. It's, bottom line is, and I'm not saying all programs, I'm just saying when you look at the landscape of college football, we've always said are degrees of cheating, and it depends on what degree is the cheating.
Yep. And I forgot who said it, that if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Right.
I forgot who made that
Was that
comment.
Bobby Riggs?
I forgot. If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it could have been him. I don't know.
Oh,
it could have been somebody that said that. Right. But the bottom line is this thing with the purity of the college is come on. There's never been purity involved here. These kids, stop it. Now that the kids are getting legitimate money, and now the only problem they have now is how legitimate are these NIL deals they're signing, and they need to clean that up.
Right.
And then obviously they need to sit down and tell kids, hey, you got to pay tax on all this money.
Right.
So there's realities here that are kicking in that didn't kick in when it was a suitcase full of money.
Right.
Because you didn't pay tax on that money.
Right.
But now on the NIL, I'm working the dealership. He's giving you money.
Yep. For sure.
It's legitimate. You gotta basically pay tax.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Where the old days you didn't have to. Like like Eric Dickerson getting the gold Trans Ams and he didn't give it back. That's my favorite.
Like he was giving it back. Him and Craig James.
Yeah, him and Craig James.
I didn't give them nothing back.
I love it. Every minute of it. You're on the sports page. What's up?
Good morning, Pat. Good morning, David. How you guys doing today?
Hey, great, Irish Mike. Talking about Eric Dickerson and the gold Trans Am that he didn't give back.
Oh, yeah. Just, obviously the draft starts back up at noon today, about an hour and a half.
Yes.
Just, so many moving parts and moving variables, most certainly. I think you hit the nail right in the head. I mean, with the Browns drafting Dylan Gabriel last night, that was a head scratcher to me. But, they took the kid out of UCLA a couple years ago. They just traded the Philadelphia Eagles as well. They took him in the third round, remember, a couple years ago, and they just traded him.
But he was never going to be that good. I knew that kid he played. He's too small. And and Cleveland wasn't a good spot for that young kid. Robinson.
Yeah. Dorian.
I mean, it just was a bad situation. I always thought it wasn't a good. I don't know if he's an NFL quarterback, but Shedeur is better than him.
Yeah.
I don't understand. You're okay. You just said it. All right. You're the Browns fan. What would you rather them take Shedeur over Dylan Gabriel or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, this makes me nervous, Pat, because obviously the trade they made, the big trade the Browns made on Thursday night, that was well. I mean, everybody knows this is all about April 2026 and drafting a quarterback next year, right? They want potentially 2 high picks in case they have to go up and get somebody they really, really like, correct?
Right. They're going for next year. Yes. And Dylan Gabriel's just
Jacksonville pick. I mean, those could be 2 top 5 picks because you're talking about 2 teams that aren't very good right now. And so from that perspective, that gives you some ammo to get up there and get a top 3 pick or top 2 pick to get a guy you really like. I mean, we all looked at the quarterbacks this year and said, I think they're okay, but I'm not 100% sold on Cam Ward either. You mean?
No. And there are a lot of the experts say that this quarterback draft, these guys, there would be 5 or 6 quarterbacks last year that are better than this crop of quarterbacks. No one will know until 4 years down the road. It's easy to sit back and make statements, but no one knows it. But that's what your experts are saying, that that these kids, this draft class is now. There's experts that say overall this is a weak draft. Not only is it but across the board. But we don't know that. I know one thing, and I noticed this, is there's a lot of linemen being drafted. Defensive, offensive linemen. Everybody's loading up on D linemen. Yeah. Which is, I mean, I know it was a good D-line class, but this is like it seems like every other pick is a D lineman or an offensive lineman.
Oh, yeah, they get them. And then a lot of times you follow suit, you find out what the winning teams are doing. And like I said, after you watch that Super Bowl, you looked at, we know about all the Saquons and all, forget that. Just look in the trenches. On both sides of the ball, that's what wins some championships. That's what they said. We're going to do that. Yeah. So that's that actually, you look at Denver, that's some of the things they did. They have the game. They were right there. They should have beat Kansas City anyway during the season. Not that last game of the season, but the other one, because of the kicker.
Yeah,
they lost. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple of things. The Chargers had them on the ropes a couple times. The Raiders had them. That's just they're there to be had. So,
and the reality hit them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they were overwhelmed there. So
I mean, that's what I don't understand. That I don't know why the Browns didn't draft him in the 3rd round.
Now after Irish Mike just made that comment, I'm starting to think, okay, if they done made up in their mind that 2026 is my thing, well, we're not going to bring a guy in like Shedeur. Because he could be the guy. He could be. And you don't have to go there. But if you got your mind made up on 2026, then you're going to either not draft a quarterback and just roll with what you got because you're looking for next year and not to cause a situation. Let's say Shedeur get drafted by them, doesn't start. Do you want to go into a second year with a controversy of drafting a big-time quarterback when you already got a young guy in your stable? I guess... same thing with Dylan Gabriel, though. Wonder if he does some things, what you going to do then?
Yeah, if Dylan Gabriel ends up playing good.
What you going to do?
And then if he looks like you got a future there, what do?
Yeah.
You draft a better quarterback next year, even though Dylan Gabriel proves himself, wins a few games, looks good, has a promising career, and thinking, wait a minute. He moves around in the pocket good. He's 5'11", he's 5'10", but he makes plays.
Right.
I mean,
thought, Pat, we talked last week, the 3 of us, I thought after the first pick of the draft, and, I thought Sanders would fall, but I didn't think he'd fall this far. And any of us thought this.
No.
I mean,
no.
You want to talk about collusion? This is collusion at its finest.
Well,
yeah, that's what I'm serious. I really think that.
I thought Pittsburgh would draft him. I thought if he fell in the first round, like he did, I thought the Steelers would draft him because you don't know what Rodgers is doing. Let's face it, you're not rolling in with Mason Rudolph. So you would draft Shedeur Sanders. Now we're talking already in this round starting. The Rams have the 25th pick in the 4th round. Pittsburgh has the 21st pick, 123 overall for today. It's starting at noon. So does Pittsburgh take him today at 21? I don't think any other team is going to draft him, because if you look at the teams above Pittsburgh, and I looked at it, there's none of these other teams. The Raiders could.
Yeah.
Now the Raiders are 6th pick. They might take him at 6.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
That's a possibility. Yeah. Yep. But if he doesn't go to the Raiders at 6, I could see him then going to the Steelers, or sitting there at 21. And if they don't take him, the Rams are 25 today. I could see the Rams taking him, McVay taking him with the 20 or the 4th round pick, in 127 overall.
Yep.
I don't know. I would be shocked if he gets out of the 4th round, but then again, been shocked. Yeah. I've been shocked already, because I thought somebody was going to. I thought the Giants were going to. I wanted the Giants to trade. I thought when the Giants were moving back into the 1st round, I knew they were drafting Dart, because from what I read in all of the New York sports, but I wanted him to take Shedeur, but I knew they were going to go Dart. I just knew they were, because of the relationship with Eli. He's got Mississippi, and Dable's got some connection there, whatever. But I had a feeling they weren't going to take Shedeur. I was hoping they would, but they did not. Mm-hmm. But then I thought Shedeur would ultimately go to the Browns in the 2nd round, and they didn't. And then last night he gets in the 3rd. I go, okay, somebody's got to take him.
Yep, nobody. So this is going to be interesting today. Let's see what happened today. Shocking. That's all I can tell you. Shocking.
So, I mean, I guess the thing is, there is a possibility that he doesn't get drafted. I guess it can happen.
Well, I mean, the guy I like that. I think we talked last week. I like. My buddy and I argued about this. The kid out of Louisville went to the Saints in the 2nd round, the 40th pick.
Yeah.
He said the only thing I like about him is Dave is he's a 7th-year senior. He played 3 years at Oregon, then he played 3 years at Texas Tech, and then he had some injuries, and they had the COVID year that was a freebie for everybody.
Right.
And he was a 7th-year senior at Louisville, because he'll be 26 in late September.
Right.
And he just got visions of remember the guy Brandon Whedon and the kid out of Florida State. When guys are older like that, people get nervous about that. I mean, as far as their age and how long they played college football for.
Yeah.
But Dylan Gabriel was a 6-year senior out of Oregon.
I know.
Right. That's right.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. So, Dylan Gabriel, right. He had a lot of.
So, the guy, I like the kid out of Louisville, and because if you go back and look, when they played Notre Dame and South Bend, he threw a touchdown pass, the best pass I've seen all year, any quarterback throw. Go watch him. Yeah. It's a tremendous throw. It's underarm. He throws like 27 yards on a rope. I mean, it's like very impressive. I remember seeing it tonight. I said, wow, how do you defend that? But, and maybe, but I kind of like Kyle McCord at Syracuse too.
Right.
And he still hasn't been drafted.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think they all of them can play. It's weird though. That all those guys has been pushed down. Yeah. I thought McCord would be a 3rd rounder somewhere. Quinn Ewers maybe 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Yeah,
me too.
These kids are all dropping. Maybe in this round, maybe the 4th.
Yeah,
but I look at the 4th round. The problem is when you start looking need, and all these teams are really going line.
Yeah,
they're all going offense, defensive line.
Yep,
especially defense, because this is a big draft for defensive linemen, and they're all going like hotcakes, sort of to speak. They're all being like pick after pick. It's just like D-line,
3 years down the road, maybe this would be the draft that we look at. The guys were picked in the 5th, 6th round as quarterbacks. All of a sudden, our starting quarterbacks
starters
and doing quite well, and that's going to be just show you the versatility of the draft. But if Shedeur does not get drafted at all, then I'm going with Irish Mike's theory. Collusion. And I don't even think it's a theory. I think that is exactly what happened, because it looks that way right now, for sure.
Yeah, it does.
I can see the guy maybe not went in the 1st round. I can see that, just the way things fell, because funny things happen, according to needs and everything like that. But to get through the 2nd and 3rd round, that's pretty shocking.
Right. And now, you see, a lot of people believe that the Steelers didn't take Shedeur because of Kenny Pickett, because that was a bad quarterback draft. It was Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis. And now Willis went to the third round, but Kenny Pickett wasn't a first-round quarterback, and they picked him because he was from Pittsburgh. And
they had a bad feeling. They remember back in the day, we missed on Dan Marino. We could have got him.
Yep, and that's what it was.
And I think it right in our backyard. And I think they thought said, we can't do this again.
We can't do it again.
Right.
The 83 draft haunted them to this day. It
because
still
they keep winning Super Bowls. If they would have drafted Dan Marino.
For Bradshaw, that was Bradshaw's successor.
Yeah. Can you imagine if that would have happened? That team was still pretty well intact.
They just didn't have a quarterback.
They might have won three more.
Yeah. They went with Bubby Brister and not Dan Marino.
And in this area, Cleveland fans really couldn't stand dealing with them for sure if they would have won about 3 or 4 more.
But Kenny Pickett wasn't it.
No, he definitely wasn't.
And he's a backup at best.
Yeah. And he might develop be the guy.
Yeah.
I think the Browns was trying to give him leverage to be able to have an opportunity to start too. And he would be. He could be the starter.
He could be the starter.
And Flacco could be the backup.
Right. Yeah.
If he performs well.
If you're a Brown fan, it's a toss-up for quarterback. Who's your starter? I don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
Maybe Dylan Gabriel. If Gabriel shows everybody he can play, they may start him, or they may bridge it. They may go Pickett or Flacco and bring Gabriel in and see if he's going to be their future.
But it just definitely gives Pickett a second chance to see.
Pickett's got a shot, a second chance to kind of resurrect his career.
Yeah. So we'll see what happened there. It's going to be interesting.
I read some of the mock guys like you in the last month or so, and I'm not trying to be funny, but but maybe after the second round I stopped reading, and third round. But if you'd have told me later on tonight, it's 7, 8 o'clock when the draft ends, that Dylan Gabriel went in the 7th round and didn't get drafted at all, that wouldn't have surprised me.
No, it wouldn't either.
I would tell you small and undersized. So when I woke, I'm not going to lie, I fell asleep last night. When I woke up this morning early and saw the Browns took him in the 3rd round, I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Like everybody else, what are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, I was shocked when they picked him in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Of all the quarterbacks, I would have gone, I thought they would even go with Kyle McCord or Will Howard in the 3rd round, not Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah. And this
even
is the thing.
Go take Will Howard just for the local fan base to say, hey, he just won a national championship months ago, right?
Right.
I'm not sure about Kyle McCord because there's still there. You mean those weirdos out there that'll turn against you the first pick he threw because of what happened, how he left, under the circumstances, and we all know. We don't know what happened or didn't happen. We can speculate and guess, but we're not 100% sure. But I'll say this, Dave Clark. We got 2 number 1s next year, and it makes me nervous about Andrew Berry picking another quarterback next year. I think that's an area he's really struggled in. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean it's
evaluations.
Right. You would think he would not miss on it next year, but one thing I got to say though about this one though, Irish Mike. I was thinking about it. Was Dylan Gabriel just a throw-in? No, he was a 3rd round pick. That's a premium pick.
Correct.
That's a guy that you're saying he's going to make my football team, and he's going to be in the quarterback mix.
Yeah.
A 3rd rounder?
Correct.
Oh yeah, he's in the mix.
He's in the mix.
Correct.
Right.
So it's kind of puzzling. That's puzzling to me. I'm not putting nothing down on him, but that's what you're saying, that you're getting a guy young like that, put him in there. You got Kenny Pickett, he's still young too. I think Pickett is just 23 maybe. So you got 2 young quarterbacks, and then you're thinking about next year drafting another one. See, that just that's the part that bothers you about Cleveland as a franchise.
Kenny Pickett's 26, Dylan Gabriel's 24. So Pickett,
24?
Yeah. Dylan Gabriel.
Oh, yeah. Because
Dylan Gabriel is 24 because he had that 5th year. And then
Oklahoma.
Yeah, he actually started in Oklahoma.
Central Florida, Oklahoma, and Oregon.
That's it.
He went in Oregon.
Yeah, he was around. Yeah, UC at Central Florida from 2019 to 2021, Oklahoma 22 to 23, and then Oregon 24.
Yeah.
So that's 5 years. 6 years.
6 years. 6 years.
Yeah, he
played 6 years of college
football.
football.
Big NIL deal. That's why he went there first year.
Yeah,
right.
Year of eligibility.
Yeah, he played.
They try to do that a lot. Oregon tries to poach a lot of kids and give them a lot of money, right, for the NIL thing.
Because he got that extra year because he got injured down at UCF.
In 2021 he was injured. He only played 3 games in 2021,
right?
And he picked up.
And you had COVID, and you had the COVID year.
Yeah, the COVID year, right? So that's what happened. So he played 6 years, but 2021 he only played 3 games because he was injured. He's had 63 game starts. So he's got all that, but they say he's 5'11" and 1/8 inch.
I'm gonna go 5'10".
I don't know about that. We'll let that people decide.
Now, what is that you're seeing? Because I know
he looks.
If you watch something,
wait till Dave Clark tries to look over to Watt Jones or right tackle.
That's what I mean. That's the only thing. With him is just getting balls batted down.
I'm gonna look in the combine numbers because I know that they give you the real stuff there. The real numbers. I'm thinking he's probably 5'10", something like that. I won't say. I mean, he can't play. We have seen it. We have seen it with Russell Wilson. We have seen it with Drew Brees.
I think they're bridging it. I think the Browns are thinking, we'll just roll this out this year, see what comes. But we're going to look at next year for a quarterback.
Yeah, because they release Flacco.
Yeah.
They could trade.
Flacco's
Kenny
only
Pickett.
a year.
They could trade Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, they could trade Pickett, or they could
and then
keep
keep
him.
Dylan Gabriel. He'll just be a young quarterback with
and you could either keep Pickett. Flacco's only a year deal anyway, and he's 41 years old.
Yeah,
so
he'll be gone.
He'll be gone. So that's not. And then they can go after maybe who they think could be a franchise quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Is what they could do because Flacco. He's 40. Flacco's 40 years old. We'll be 41.
I have a question for you, gentlemen, because I know neither one of you are Browns fans. Does this trade on the Browns made Thursday night ensure that both Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski will be around next year to make this pick, no matter what happens this coming season?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to be. They're not getting fired. I know there's
because that was a bold move. And if you're like, if I'm Andrew Berry, I would say, well, I don't want to make this move without an insurance that I'm going to be here to make the pick. You know what I mean? Because this could get tricky pretty quickly. Because, obviously the one thing that we've admitted to the Browns is there's a lot more holes in this team than, that Browns fans even want to admit themselves.
Right.
Oh, yeah. They need a lot of different things.
They need a lot of work. They need a lot of help, I think. And they're getting it. I think that Stefanski's there. I think Barry will survive too. I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't think Haslam wants to fire. He did too much of that and caused too much of an uproar all those years. I think he wants to settle it down. He knows Stefanski is a good coach. Stefanski got him to a playoff. Barry's a pretty good GM. Granted, the Deshaun Watson, but that was Haslam's pick. It wasn't Barry's call. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was what's his face. That was the owner's call. And I think he knows it. And he knows Haslam knows he screwed that up. And that's why he's going to leave them alone.
Yeah.
Because he knows, Haslam knows he will admit maybe only to himself that he screwed everything up and set the franchise back 3 years with the Watson debacle. So he's going to leave both those guys alone.
Yeah, and he should. Yeah, because after Watson had turned it down, those guys had already moved on. They was thinking of other things, but Haslam kept that thing going and say, hey, we give him this guaranteed contract. Now, based on how he was playing from before, okay.
Yeah, okay.
But you got to factor other things. He sat out an entire season. He's going through stuff.
Yeah, had all those.
He is a person.
Right. So he's going through all that.
He's going through all that
the
nonsense.
Field crap, right.
Yeah, and that can affect you mentally.
Right.
And I really believe it definitely did that.
Oh, yeah. Because he's a shell of the player he was. Now, whether or not he can... Now, he says he's coming back.
Yeah.
And he's using this all as motivation. And maybe it'll work out.
And it might, because being away that long...
him next year. He's on the contract next year. People don't have to understand that Deshaun Watson will play 2026 in Cleveland because of the contract.
Yeah.
He's tied there.
Yep.
They can't get rid of him for one more year. Then they can get rid of him.
Right.
After 2026. Even if
he's a backup, he'll be the most expensive backup quarterback in NFL history.
He and Kirk Cousins will be the two most expensive backups in history.
Yep. Sure.
But I think the number with Kirk Cousins, if you pay him $25 million, it's a $45 million contract. And I believe the number is if you can take Kirk Cousins, they will pay $20 million, you pay $25 and you can have him.
Yeah.
But you're coming again, the Achilles and the age.
Yep, and all that together.
But he still could get traded in this mix. You never know. But that's kind of what I understood it to be. I think that's the number. I think it's 20 and 25.
Well, Browns will have to try to figure out if they can work something.
But they got a
of that
problem with
nature.
the cap because of Watson's contract.
Right.
I don't think they're going that direction.
Yeah.
No, they're not going.
Even quarterbacks, Pat. I mean, just go back 5 years ago when Urban Meyer took the Jacksonville Jaguars job. We all know he took the job because it was worst kept secret. They were going to take quarterback Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson with the first pick of the draft, and here he's moving in his fifth year, and there's still a lot of question marks about Trevor Lawrence moving forward.
No,
right?
there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions on Trevor Lawrence. A lot of, again, he's been disappointing. I mean, he won a playoff game.
Yeah, in that 1 year, he regressed.
He regressed
because he was decent that
right.
I think that was the second year or whichever. He was doing pretty good. You could see, okay, here they come, and then all of a sudden, he didn't. He was sporadic after that. So he's got to get back on there. They try to get some weapons there to help him. So, and you definitely need that. So we'll see if that all that works out for them.
Yeah, you will see. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with Shah Khan. Some people call him Shaka Khan's going to do, the owner of the Jags.
Let's see.
We'll see what he does. Because I don't know if he, but I don't blame him for going after Travis Hunter because they needed that.
Yeah.
But the Browns that was a good trade for the Browns personally. They got a lot of capital for him.
Yeah.
Yes, no doubt.
I know some people are not happy with that.
Yeah, well, they wanted to see that energy there, but
They
Mason
wanted to
Graham
see the
was
pick.
Yeah.
I mean, they took the linebacker out of UCLA. Well, they had the first pick in obviously they ended up with Jenkins, the running back from Ohio State with the second pick. That was Jacksonville's pick, right?
That was it. Yep. Thanks, Irish Mike.
Hey, thanks, Dave. Thanks, Pat. Have a great weekend.
Okay.
All right, you too.
Saturday Morning Sports Page. We'll be back next week. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. Have a safe week. Do not drink and do not drive.
Someone's got to set the tone out there, boys. Someone's got to set it.
The station that sets the tone for Youngstown Phantoms hockey is Western Reserve Radio. WRDB, The Scourge.
He signs first, and then they add two people on top of him.
Prop Points, weekdays at 2 p.m. Eastern on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Sean Green and Ryan Kramer bring an energetic approach to sports betting to keep you entertained while sweating your bets on the Sports Gambling Podcast live at VSiN.
There is something to the idea of the smart teams might be zagging. You see all the best offenses in the National Football League have a fullback. For receivers, if you're slow, a lot of teams just rule you out, I guess.
Yeah, that was what always held me back.
Join Sean and Ryan every Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on the Sports Gambling Podcast live at VSiN, right here on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Welcome to the VSiN Weekend Morning Line on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hour number 2 of the VSiN Weekend Morning Line. I'm Tim Murray, live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. What a night it was last night, as boy, the revenge was out there to be had, as all teams on the ice and on the hardwood that were down 0-2 and at home took care of business. And if you want to throw in the Minnesota Timberwolves, who were tied 1 game apiece with the Los Angeles Lakers, but at home for the first time in that first round series, they won as well. All 6 teams took care of business at home last night, whether on the ice or on the hardwood. And we've now got 4 games in the NBA playoffs today, 4 games on the ice today in this hour. Jonathan Von Tobel, in less than 15 minutes, he'll help us break down the 4 NBA playoff games. Jonathan Davis, our insider for the NHL, he will help us break down the 4 games on the ice. And of course, we are 1 hour away from the start of the 4th round of the NFL draft. When will the slide stop for Shedeur Sanders? And I thought Albert Breer of SI had an interesting take here just a moment ago, which was, is it a slide or is it just now a situation where you're drafting for depth at this point? you are not anticipating a 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th